In today's gospel lesson, we witness Jesus at dinner with who will be his future disciple, Matthew, tax collector. Now, in Jesus' day, tax collectors were looked down upon. They were seen as dishonest people. So what we see in the leaders of the Pharisees' response makes some sense. Why would somebody who is a respected teacher be taking the time to be with such people like Matthew? The thing is, God often chooses people we least expect. God chose Jacob, later who went by the name Israel, to be the namesake for God's chosen people. This is in spite of the fact that Jacob actually is dishonest and often cunningly so. God chose Moses to be a leader for this same people, even though Moses was a stutterer. God chose Samson, one of the ancient judges of Israel, even though the only thing that Samson seems to have going for him is his incredible strength. God chose David to be king, even though David was a small person, not the sort who could even get into his armor, not the kind of person one would expect to be a great warrior. God chose Peter, even though this disciple is often jumping in at the exact wrong moment and in the exact wrong way. God chose Paul, even. Paul, who was a persecutor of the church, whom Jesus cries out to him. If God chose all these people, why not choose Matthew, a tax collector? If we think we are worthy to be chosen by God, we are not. If we think we are unworthy to be chosen by God, we are not. God chooses the crafty and the foolish. God chooses the weak and, at times, the strong. God's choices tend to be less obvious, at least on the surface, to us. The one thread that we can say we see in God's choices seems to be faithfulness, the sort of faithfulness that leads to the greatness that we see in those that God's chosen, such as Abraham or even Mary. There's not a certain type God is looking for. God chooses all sorts of types. We just need to sit back and wait for when God